Gene Zeydelrudolf is a composer, conductor, and professor of music at University of the Witwatersrand in Johannesburg, South Africa. As she and her husband became more observant, they traveled to New York for an audience with the Rebbe.
We went to visit the Rebbe, and we took with us pictures of our children, and we had Yechidos. And the Yechidos was an exceptionally remarkable experience, personally, professionally, on all levels. And the Rebbe made us feel very comfortable. He smiled and he asked, "Have you brought photos of your children?" And of course we had. And very sort of gently we handed over the photos of the children. And with such loving eyes and tremendous caring, he took the photos and he studied them and he looked at them. And then with a twinkle in his eye and a smile on his face, he said, "Well, you have the originals at home. I'm going to keep these photos." So it was very touching that he kept the photos of our originals, who were, of course, living at home. He asked us about each child, and we told the Rebbe. And truthfully, I can't remember. It must have been in the actual note that I asked for a bracha for music, because he just seemed to already know that this was who I was and what I was, and since the age of 5 had been passionately involved in playing the piano and composing. And he said, "Which of the Nigunim is your favorite?" So I said, "The Mittler Rebbe's Kapella." So he said, "I can understand why." He says it encompasses and embraces every kind of neshama dika mood, with all its contrasts and variations. And I'll tell you in a minute about what he said about the music. But then he said to me, "Just be sure that in your..." Because I told him that I'd done several orchestral arrangements of the Mittler Rebbe's Kapella. I'd written music for concerts in Detroit and various orchestral concerts, and that I had done piano and violin arrangements of the Mittler Rebbe's Kapella. And then he looked at me and he said, "Just be careful with the Alter Rebbe's ניגון, that you don't do anything much with it. Leave it in its pure, intact form." And then we came back to a discussion of the Mittler Rebbe's Kapella, a Kapella being a choir. And I remember him saying perfect harmonies. The Rebbe looked at me and he said, "I give you a bracha that you should continue giving great nachas to Yidden through your music." And I'd, through the Rebbe, through the schools, through the Torah Academy, I'd always been involved in playing for the school plays, playing for the productions, playing for the choirs, writing down some of the Nigunim, some of the songs that were never written down in the Zalmanov book, which is the Sefer Nigunim. So that bracha has given me enormous koach, and I've done exactly that.